The key components of the circuits are 12-volt battery, isolator switch, pre-fuse box, ignition switch, main fuse box, ACU 62-pole connector, SCR after relay, quad temperature sensor, upstream pressure and temperature sensor, downstream pressure sensor, ambient temperature sensor, HC fuel shut-off valve, HC doser, terminating resistor, delta pressure sensor, NOx in sensor, NOx out sensor, DEF dosing valve, prefuse pigtail to front chassis, A2 pole, front chassis to main wiring harness, A2 pole, prefuse pigtail to front chassis, B2 pole, front chassis to main wiring harness, B2 pole, main to front chassis 36 pole, front chassis to SCR interface 36 pole, SCR 47 pole connector, 15 each tank connector, front chassis to HC doser 16 pole, front chassis to SCR interface 36 pole. Pre-fuse box consists of two fuses, fuse PFB2 with the rating 40 amps, fuse EDC with the rating 40 amps. Main fuse box consists of three fuses, fuse F05 with rating 10 amps, fuse F02 with rating 20 amps and fuse F26 with rating 5 amps. The components are grounded via earthing points as mentioned below. 12-volt battery negative terminal black color is connected to the battery ground. ACU 62-pole connector, pin number 1, 2, 15 and 30 grounded through black wire to EDC SCR ground through interconnectors. SCR after relay terminal, pin number 85 is grounded in the ACU 62-pole connector through black and grey wire pin number 35 through interconnectors. Quad temperature sensor pin number 4, black wire grounded in SCR ground through interconnectors. Delta pressure sensor pin number 1, black wire grounded ACU 62-pole connector pin number 39 through interconnectors. NOx out sensor pin number 4 and NOx in sensor pin number 2 and pin number 5 black and brown wire grounded in SCR ground through interconnectors. Ambient temperature sensor pin number 2, black wire grounded in ACU 62-pole connector pin number 5. Upstream pressure and temperature sensor pin number 2, brown wire interconnects to downstream pressure sensor pin number 2, red and green wire grounded through matting connector, yellow wire to ACU 62-pole connector pin number 29 through interconnectors. HC fuel shut-off valve pin number 2, black wire grounded to ACU 62-pole connector pin number 34 through interconnectors. HC doser pin number 2, violet wire grounded to ACU 62-pole connector pin number 32 through interconnectors. When the ignition switch is at switch-off position, the 12-volt battery supply the voltage to isolator switch in line through red wire. The same line passes to the pre-fuse EDC 40 amps. From EDC fuse 40 amps, red-white wire splits into two lines. One line passes to the main fuse box fuse F05 to 10 amps, which passes to SCR after relay terminal 30. Another line passes to main fuse box fuse F02 to 20 amps. From main fuse box red wire interconnect the supply line wires to ACU 62-pole connectors pin number 31, 46 and 47 through interconnectors. From ACU 62-pole connector pin number 51, red and black wire passes to SCR after relay terminal pin number 86. When isolator switch is engaged, the battery supply voltage passes from in-line to out-line. Red wire passes to the pre-fuse box fuse PFB2 to 40 amps. From pre-fuse box PFB2 to 40 amps, red wire passes to ignition switch B positive through interconnectors. When the ignition switch is turned to ignition on position. When ignition switch is on condition, the input supply supplied from pin number 1 to pin number 2. From pin number 2 to main fuse box fuse F26 to 5 amps, red and yellow wire to the ACU 62-pole connector pin number 37 through interconnectors. ACU 62-pole connector activate ground from pin number 35, black and grey wire to SCR after relay to the terminal pin number 85. Relay get engages, voltage supplies from terminal pin number 30 red and white wire to the terminal pin number 87. Violet and yellow wire to ACU 62-pole connector pin number 30. From ACU connector pin number 30 wire split into two lines, one line passes to quad temperature sensor pin number 1. Another line passes to NOx out and NOx in sensor pin number 1 through interconnectors. Quad temperature sensor, NOx out and NOx in sensor sends and receives the CAN high signal pin number 3 and CAN low signal pin number 2. From ACU62 pole connector pin number 41 for CAN high and pin number 40 for CAN low wire terminating resistor through interconnectors. From ACU62 pole connectors pin number 54, red wire supplies the voltage to delta pressure sensor pin number 4 through interconnectors. From ACU62 pole connectors pin number 10, red wire supplies 5 volt to ambient temperature sensor pin number 1 and pin number 2 is grounded in ACU62 pole connectors pin number 5. From ACU62 pole connectors pin number 14, red wires to supplies voltage to upstream pressure and temperature sensor and downstream pressure sensor pin number 1 through interconnectors. From ACU62 pole connectors pin number 50, gray wire supplies voltage to HC fuel shutoff valve pin number 1. And pin number 2 is grounded at ACU62 pole connector pin number 34 through interconnectors. From ACU62 pole connectors pin number 48, red wire supplies voltage to HC dosor pin number 1, and pin number 2 is grounded at ACU62 pole connector pin number 32 through interconnectors. Once vehicle started, ACU62 pole connector pin number 09 receives the pressure signal from delta pressure sensor pin number 02 through interconnectors, and ACU62 pole connector pin number 11 receives the DPF outlet pressure signal from pin number 03 through interconnectors. From ACU62 pole connector pin number 12 receives the pressure signal from upstream pressure and temperature sensor pin number 3 through interconnectors, and ACU62 pole connector receives the temperature signal from upstream pressure and temperature sensor pin number 4 through interconnectors. From ACU62 pole connector pin number 23 receives the pressure signal from downstream pressure sensor pin number 3 through interconnectors. DEF dosing valve sends the signal to ACU62 pole connectors pin numbers 16 and pin number 17 through interconnectors.